Tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you, George. Wise mom you have. So I run the 49 State Angel Fund, which is a venture capital fund featuring and investing in Alaskan entrepreneurs and startups across the state. It's been really fun and exciting to see what all the ideas that folks have are across the state, and to make sure that we're building an equitable business landscape for all businesses in the state, for all those that have an idea or have a business plan ready to go. We host a number of programs to build up and give the resources for folks to build that business. And one of them in particular is coming up in, less than 2 weeks, which is the Alaska Startup Week, a full week of events happening from November 8th through 12th. There are 50 events plus happening across the whole state. So there is something in there for everyone who's interested in innovation, in what thriving looks like for different businesses, different industries, and so much more.
Wonderful. So you said that there are resources from the organization that you work for, and one of them that's coming up is an immediate opportunity for people to get plugged into information, into networks, and we're talking about both small business folks, people who are creatives or entrepreneurs, startups, but also investors as well. Right? We're trying to bring people. So let's get a snapshot of what this event is. If you're a small business person, you're a creative, what is this event about for me, and how can I tap into it? And then let's look at it from an investor's perspective.
Excellent. So coming at it from an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur's perspective, this is a full week of events where you'll hear from other entrepreneurs that have been successful or not successful. There will be an event around the horror stories of entrepreneurship led by the Seward Chamber of Commerce. And you'll get some tips and tricks from those other entrepreneurs as what worked well, what didn't work well. And there will also be events led by professionals. There's a session led by Dorsey and Whitney locally in Anchorage, sharing business basics from a legal perspective, what you should be considering. They'll answer questions for folks. There's also sessions around LinkedIn marketing for startups and what that looks like by local agency Qatari Creative, and so much more. University of Fairbanks is hosting an event around intellectual property and what you should be considering. And if you have a question, I'm sure someone during Startup Week has an answer. And generally fostering innovation and collaboration between folks that are like-minded, and hearing that support, hearing the good stories out there. We have entrepreneurs like Alpine Fit that are going to be hosting open houses. So you'll get a behind the scenes peek at a local business. Kodiak Island Brewing and Still will also be opening their doors virtually and showing us behind the scenes. So there's a lot going on.
You know, I really appreciate the wave of having the opportunity for people to share time, space, and information, because I think that's really important. You just mentioned several areas and themes, but it's the exposure to people having those conversations together, the sparks of ideas and thoughts, right? That chemistry that gives people the ability to come to any space like that as being put together in that way and leave with both contacts, but and also new ways to see things, new insights.
Absolutely. And as it turns out, right before Startup Week begins will be Startup Weekend, which is a full weekend where people are immersed, bring in an idea, they pitch it to a group, they build a team, they get the feel in 3 days what it's like to be a startup. So you might not have a grand idea just yet, but if you've ever thought about being an entrepreneur, that event is definitely for you. Applications for that or registrations for it close this Sunday, Halloween. So,
so get in
I
now.
recommend exactly Startup Weekend. And from there, we'll go into the nuts and bolts of being a startup.
Is the Startup Weekend also, can people find out information about the Startup Weekend and the same website as they find out about the Startup Week that I'm scrolling for all of the radio listeners? I'm scrolling it on the Facebook on the bottom right there. Can you say the website out loud so that people can hear it as well? Yeah, thanks.
Yes, it is alaska.startupweek.co.
Alaska.startupweek.co.
Correct.
Excellent.